Hey everybody, welcome to day 17, part 3. Again, I apologize for any noise in the background, but I wanted to apologize if I've been causing any anxiety to people who have listened to the past couple of videos regarding organ removal. Again, I want to just remind you guys that the whole purpose of this channel and everything that I've done in the gym with my clients for the past 17 years has to do with asking the harder questions. So just objectively, it shouldn't matter what the answer is. What we should do is inquire what is the truth about this situation, what is not being asked, and then start to ask better and better questions about how do we keep these things healthy. And let me give a more empowering message here today and show you that what I'm talking about over here with organs actually has so much to do with what we've been talking about for the previous 16 days. And if you've been with me for the past 17 years in the gym, which many of you have been, you know that we've been preaching all along. I will remind you that there is no one seminar that we've run more in the gym through the years than breathing. And you're going to see why even more clearly today, why that's so important. It's also the reason why part 1 of every single day has to do with breathing. There's a meditation component, but it's really a meditation component to get you ready for some breath work and then what you do after that. So I can't overstate how important breathing is. And this will become more and more abundantly clear. You got it? Like, can I say it any more clearly than that? The amount of time and effort I've put into showing people how to breathe is astronomical. And it's not just how you breathe walking around, it's how you breathe at night, it's how you breathe when you perform. In the previous video, I put a video of me at 44 years old, at 168 pounds, squatting 300 pounds onto a pretty low box with a safety squat bar, which is a very hard bar to squat. It's a bar that puts a lot of demand in your upper back. Again, I'm not saying this to impress you, or I'm saying this to let you know that how I'm breathing there really matters. So connecting all these dots is the point of these videos. So please follow along as I go through my logic here with these organs. So let me just first start off with, again, tonsils. 530,000 tonsils are removed a year in kids less than 15 years old. Again, we know that they're important for bacteria and viruses. Again, do you think that has something to do with your immune system? Yes. Is it your only defense against viruses and bacteria? Of course not. Of course not. But recognize when things come in through the mouth and throat that where your tonsils sit is one of the first lines of defense. Okay, we can all agree on that. I also put a link to research that Jordan found the other day that was in the newsletter. So if you don't get my newsletter, please subscribe to it. You can reach out to me directly in this YouTube channel and give me your email address, and I am happy to put you on our newsletter. I cannot put links to articles on YouTube. I can only put links to videos. I didn't know that yesterday. So check this out. Tonsils. Look at why they're being removed. So let's just step back. Why are tonsils being removed? They're being removed most of the time because of breathing obstruction or because kids are getting chronic infections. Now, guys, do you think that has anything to do with how kids breathe? Because it does. If kids are breathing through their mouth, we know that you're losing about 40 to 45% of the moisture that's supposed to be in your mouth through your mouth. Now, in no anatomy book will you ever see that the purpose of the mouth is to breathe. It's not to breathe. It is the nose. The nose is the purpose of breathing. It is not the mouth. It's not anatomically designed to breathe for you. It's your nose. Now, what is the consequence of this? Well, there's plenty of research that shows that it affects upper jaw and tooth development when we're mouth breathers. I also told you guys about nitric oxide. I mentioned many things through the video about how and why these things matter. What I'm saying is that how you breathe affects your face, your facial development. And I personally had huge issues with my nose all the way up until 27 when I had it fixed. When the doctor was done with what was supposed to be a 20-minute surgery, it was 4 hours later. What he said to me when I was finally conscious was, how many times did you break your nose? Which I didn't know, considering how many sports I played and how much boxing I did when I was younger and in my early 20s. It's very possible that I broke my nose a few times, but I had allergies before that. Now, mind you, if you scroll down in my newsletter, I have evidence of this. I used to be a fairly elite cross-country runner. You know, you'll see that I hold the course record in, I don't remember, 16:15 or 16:20 in a 3.1 mile race. That's 16 minutes and 20 seconds in a 3.1 mile race. That's a 5K. That's really fast. You know, I'm doing that, I think I was my sophomore or junior year in high school. The whole time I had allergies. The whole time I had these breathing issues. I'm not saying this, again, to impress you. I'm telling you that if I could have gone back in time and talked to myself about the things I know now, I can't imagine how much better I'd be. It took me until I was about 21, 22, somewhere around there, where I started to realize, oh my goodness, diet has something to do with my allergies. Because my father was on allergy medication his entire life until the day he died. But I started to realize my diet is affecting my allergies. And I started to investigate this more and more and more. And long story short, I don't get allergies anymore because I've adjusted my diet accordingly. What do? I stay away from gluten and dairy. There you go. You want a big secret? Stay away from gluten and dairy. But the truth is that most people will hear that and they'll just go have their next bite of pizza, which has both gluten and plenty of dairy and all of the refined carbs that you can possibly ask for. See, it's not a matter of me giving you guys secrets. It doesn't matter what the secret is. It's a matter of your urgency to be well. That's what I was saying yesterday about ALT, right? So ALT, we know, is one of the 3 markers that is giving people by far the worst symptoms of COVID-19. The first one is body aches, which is ubiquitous to almost any flu or sickness. The other one was hemoglobin, which we talked about a lot yesterday. And if you didn't hear it, I suggest that you go back and listen. But the other one is ALT, which is your liver. It's your liver enzymes. When you have fatty liver, those liver enzymes go up. So we talked about non-alcohol fatty liver disease. How do you get it? You eat a lot of sugar and you make sure you're overweight. And then all the organs get fat, including, your spleen, your pancreas, your liver. Why am I saying this? Well, remember I just said non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So what I am saying is that there's another reason for livers to get fatty, and it's through drinking alcohol. 20, 30 years ago, that used to be by far the main reason why we saw fatty liver disease. It was from alcoholism. But now, guys, it's nowhere near the main cause. It's how we eat. But yet, today, with all this going on with COVID-19, and the stakes couldn't be higher, right? You agree? Death, it doesn't get much higher than that stake. Yet, in the newsletter, I put an article that says that alcohol sales are up by 55%. Hang on a second. Let me just think about that for a second. So do I think that the average person cares at all that I just said, here's how you fix your kids' allergies? You get rid of gluten and dairy. Now, this is not an N of 1 study. I can assure you that over the course of the 18 years that I've been doing this in my business, that I've owned the gym, I have given this advice to people, not a dozen people, not 100 people, hundreds and hundreds of people, many of which had bad allergies. I will get people to testify to the fact that their allergies are almost non-existent from the advice that I've given them. I've given them a few other pieces of advice, but I'm telling you right now, that's the elephant in the room, which is the gluten and dairy. Similarly, I'll get people to testify to the fact that they almost never get sick when they follow these guidelines. But these are people that are highly motivated. You're not highly motivated if you're one of those, if you're those people that are going out and purchasing the alcohol in the face of death, literally, okay? Because again, we know that ALT is one of the 3 major markers. Now, again, that could be a disturbing fact to you, just like these disturbing facts about removing organs, but I'm trying to empower you here by letting you know that we can actually have healthy tonsils. We can actually have better breathing. We can actually, if we understand what tonsils are for and why they're removed, it has a lot to do with how we breathe. So being very attentive to how your child's breathing matters. And similarly, we live in a very busy society, but there's also very ample evidence that shows breastfeeding as opposed to bottle feeding. But at the end of the day, meaning for how kids develop in their face and in their breathing structures. But at the end of the day, guys, if we see children breathing through their mouth, we have to make them more conscientious to close their mouths and breathe through their nose. Just like you tell them, don't put the elbows on the table, or don't bite your nails. This is the type of message that needs to start being spread through our children at a young age. Why? Because we know what all the research is saying about how important it is to breathe through your nose. So what's more important, not having their elbows on the table or making sure that they close their mouth when they breathe, both throughout the day and at night? And if that means that the child's mouth has to be taped closed, then that's what needs to be done. Again, we weren't privy to this information 50 years ago, but there's also a reason why we started to breathe through our mouths over time. 1,000 years ago, 500 years ago, we weren't breathing through our mouths the way that we are now. It has to do with the fact that we're sitting all day. We have seated societies. So what does that do to our neck? It pushes our heads forward. It rounds our back. It shuts down our diaphragm. These are all things that matter when you breathe. So if you sit down and you're just in bad posture and you're just smashing down on your diaphragm, can it move very well? Similarly, in your neck, the vertebrae in your neck, which I've talked about before, those vertebrae, C3, C4, and C5, go right into the diaphragm. Those are the nerves that help the diaphragm fire. Well, if you're in this posture all day, what type of pressure do you think that you're giving those vertebrae? And again, this happens over time. And then you get in bed and slam your head up like this with pillows to watch TV or text like this. This is not good, guys. That's why when we start in the morning and we do the breathing exercises, we're in a very particular posture in order for the breath to feel like you're swallowing air, drinking air through 2 straws in your nostril in order to get into the throat and into your belly. It's a true diaphragmatic breath. So guys, it's a paradigm shift. Okay, so when we talk about organ removal and we say, well, geez, 530,000 kids under 15, was that happening 500 years ago? No, we couldn't remove tonsils like that, right? Something's going on here. And what I am saying is that there's a consequence. We know there's a consequence. I linked the article to it, but I'm also saying that there's a way to start thinking about it differently. And let's start with how they breathe. And similarly with allergies, how our kids are eating. And it's the same thing with asthma, guys. It's the same thing. Asthma is an exhalation problem. It's a problem exhaling. What is the work that we're doing every morning, everyone? Go ahead, say it, everyone at once. What are we doing? We're practicing exhales and breath holds. We're practicing slowing the breath. Slowing the breath. We're actually practicing a type of oxygen deprivation, an air hunger. What does that do? It actually increases the carbon dioxide, okay, to release oxygen from the hemoglobin. This is the state that we want to train in our body. And when you do that over the course of time, guess what? The asthma will improve dramatically. In how long? Give it 2 weeks. Again, guys, do your research on this. Do your due diligence. I'll put a link right up there to, I'll tell you what, I'll put a link here and I'll put another link in the next section. I'll put 5 links in a row of some of the top people in the world confirming this information, not just about asthma, not just about sleep apnea, all of the things I've been talking about and how important it is. Again, this is not Tom coming online just now with breathing. Ask anybody who's been at Fit for Life over the past 18 years. No seminar has been given more than breathing seminars, even more than nutrition. That's how important it is. Now, if we go over now to the gallbladder, do gallbladders need to be removed? No, it has everything to do with diet. Okay, gallbladders, the state of your gallbladder, the health of your gallbladder is mapped onto the health of your liver. Liver is what creates the bile. The bile goes to the gallbladder, and from the gallbladder, it goes into this part of your small intestine called the duodenum. It's supposed to be like a soapy looking, like a dish soap. That's the texture that it should be. But when we have unhealthy livers, when we have bad diets, that bile starts to be more like molasses. And you start getting gallstones and all these types of things. So it has everything in the world to do with diet. In order for bile to flow well, you actually need to have a healthy liver and you need to eat good, healthy forms of fat because if you don't call on bile to flow, it won't flow. It needs fat in order to flow, meaning you need to eat fat. And certain forms of fat are way more optimal than other forms of fat, which we've talked about in the past. But similarly, again, keeping the liver healthy, everything flows through the liver. So if we keep taxing the liver with alcohol, refined carbs, too much sugar, you get the idea. The end result is there's a problem. So diet has everything to do with keeping your gallbladder healthy. Finally, your appendix. Again, so gallbladders, let me just go back. Over 700,000 gallbladders are removed every year. Okay, if you do your research there, you will see, without a doubt, many, many, many of those gallbladders could have been saved. Okay? But why get yourself into the position where you're in pain in the first place? Why not just understand what the gallbladder does and how to keep it healthy? It's through diet. It's through not taxing your liver. Your appendix, 300,000 are removed. You want to know how to keep a healthy appendix? It's right up there, everybody. Can you see this? Here, let me. What does that say right there? Increase what? Increase your fiber. There's one thing that we know about appendix. People that follow diets that are higher in fiber, they have less likelihood of having their appendix removed. So guys, now we can get upset at me for talking about this stuff for the past 2 seminars, and you can get disturbed, or you can ask some better questions. You can start saying, well, geez, how do I have healthy tonsils? How do I keep my child's tonsils? How do I increase the likelihood of my child's tonsils remaining where they should be in order to help fight pathogens? How do I keep a healthy gallbladder so that the bile can emulsify fats? And we talked about the importance of vitamin A and vitamin D in fighting this virus. Both of them are fat-soluble vitamins, but also bile's role similarly in removing all kinds of toxins from the body. And similarly for the appendix, in order to provide the healthy support for good gut microbes, which seems to be its main function. So again, guys, my mission here is to give you facts, to help you think about things that most people aren't thinking about, most people aren't talking about, and then give you guys real time, hey, what can we do about it? But guys, is there anything that I said here today that I haven't said in the past? So in other words, if you just keep doing what I've been saying to do about breathing, about diet, about exercise, about the environment. So what do I mean by environment? Well, if you go back and listen to the sleep video that I did, the importance of sleep in your immune system and making sure that your bedroom's environment is right, the environment when you wake up in the morning in order for you to meditate, you'll see that what's happening there between the air humidifier that I'm putting out with this essential oil. And by the way, if you go back and listen to that video about that sort of miracle cure that this person had with vitamin A, D, and vitamin C, one of the things that they also talk about at the end of the video is a nebulizer. A nebulizer. The doctor is making the claim that every home should have a nebulizer. You could have a nebulizer for all the reasons that he talks about, but you know what the main reason is? Guys, it's moisture in your mouth. How do you do that? Go ahead, tell me. How do you do it? You keep your damn mouth closed when you breathe, okay? And you can use a humidifier for the purposes of keeping everything moist. And guys, guess what else helps? Drinking enough water. Okay, we starting to get it, everyone? Again, I'm just trying to think more deeply about these things out loud. This is not meant, obviously, to offend anybody. It's meant to empower you to do something about it. And hopefully that puts some of your minds at rest. So guys, bolster up that immune system. If you don't have your tonsils anymore, so what? If you don't have your appendix anymore, so what? If you don't have your gallbladder anymore, so what? Because you know what? I've given you plenty of stuff over the past just 17 days. And we got 40 days all together coming, all right? We're not even halfway there. I got plenty more up these sleeves, baby. Plenty more up these sleeves to give you. But you gotta follow the logic of what I'm doing and not get offended by the questions I'm asking, all right? Instead, allow me to ask the questions and then give you better answers. How's that? All right, guys, give me a thumbs up. Give me some questions at the bottom, and I will be sure to answer them as fast as possible. Have a great rest of the day.